Hey, welcome to my channel and thanks for stopping by. So today I'm going to show you how I make my fabric or ribbon labels that I sew into my products that I sell on Etsy and Shopify. I make these using a sublimation printer and I print them onto grosgrain ribbon. And this ribbon works really well because it's 100% polyester, so the sublimation takes to it really well, shows up nice and vibrant, and doesn't have a faded look. And that's the key to sublimation, is you need to be subbing onto as high a polyester count as you possibly can. So I printed it on my Sawgrass sublimation printer. I use Tex Print R paper. For me, it's the one I found that I like the best so far, so that's what I've stuck with for quite a while now. What I'm doing here is just cutting my printed labels into strips that are the same width as my ribbon, so that when I go to my heat press to print them, it's just a lot easier to line them up and get them nice and straight so that I don't accidentally get them off the ribbon and lose some of my prints. Got my strips of paper cut. I then cut my ribbon, my grosgrain ribbon, again 100% polyester, into strips that are the length of my sublimation strips. And this again is to just make it easier when I go to print or press them. I know that each strip of ribbon is the correct length for each of my label strips. In here I'm using 5/8 inch ribbon, and I was able to get 13 strips of labels out of one 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, and there's 5 labels per strip, so that's, I don't even know, a lot of labels out of one sheet of paper. So it's really cost effective, and they look really nice to have custom labels like this. Once all the strips of ribbon and strips of labels are cut, I go over to my heat press and I take off my Teflon sheets. I have the Teflon sheets on there for when I do my vinyl HTV stuff, but when doing sublimation, you don't want to have these sheets. They something to do with the gases that the gases that sublimation releases. They mess with it, and I don't really know. I've been told not to use it, so I don't use them when I'm subbing. I place a piece of copy paper on the bottom to catch any ink bleed out, and I pre-press all of my strips of ribbon to get out any wrinkles, and if there's going to be a slight bit of shrinkage, I get that out of the way prior to putting my prints on there. So once I've pre-pressed, then I take my label strips and I line them up on my ribbon. I place it in the center of the ribbon, and usually I tape it down with heat press tape. However, I lost mine, so I was just kind of trying to get them to stick, and it's quite difficult that way, so I do recommend using heat press tape if at all possible. So here's where you can see I'm trying to line them up without burning my fingers, keep them center, keep them where they belong, and it's just a whole lot more difficult without that tape. So normally I can do like all 8 of these strips pretty quickly, but today I had to only do 3 at a time because they kept moving on me. I kept bumping them and they were just getting out of line. So I put my second sheet of copy paper on top to catch that ink bleed out so it doesn't soak into my press and then potentially transfer onto other projects later on. I press my ribbon and labels for 45 seconds at 390 degrees, take them off, and there you have it. That's it. Super simple. They look really nice, and you have custom labels for pennies. So now I have them all cut up into the correct size strip so that I can then sew them into whatever it is that I'm working on at the moment. I just cut them long enough so that I can fold them in half and stitch the raw edges of the ribbon up inside of my project. I hope this was helpful, and if you could, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a ton. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much, and I hope you come back.